Greetings, Poke fans! Michael here. Quick little bit of self-promo before the video gets started. If you are not already subscribed to my second channel, Michael Growth, you should definitely do so. I post at least one video a week that's some fun, non-Pokemon content. I rant about things that annoy me, I tell some funny stories, and other stuff. So if you're not already subscribed, links down in the description below, and I'll put a link up in the cards as well. About 3 years ago, a YouTuber by the name of Dookie Shed made a video counting down the top 10 Pokemon that he would eat, and to this day, it's one of my favorite Pokemon top 10s that anyone has made ever. A discussion on my Twitch stream a little while ago, where we talked about what Pokemon we would eat, reminded me of that video, and it got me thinking that I wanted to make my own version of the video where I count down the top 10 Pokemon that I would chow down on. Now some of you may be thinking, do people even eat Pokemon? The answer is yes, they do. I made a video in my early days of Pokemon YouTubing where I discuss whether or not people eat Pokemon, so if you want the evidence, go check that video out, but otherwise you should just believe me, because trust me, people eat Pokemon. Others may be thinking that this video topic is too morbid or too dark, but if it makes you feel any better, all Pokemon on this list lived long, happy lives, and if I were to eat Pokemon, I would strictly consume free-range Pokemon. So be sure to leave a like on the video, comment below what Pokemon you would eat, and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, here are the top 10 Pokemon that I would eat. Number 10, Stantler. Deer meat, known as venison, is not a meat that a whole lot of people consume, and it's not widely available. If you were to go to your local grocery store, chances are you would not be able to find any venison there. However, I have eaten venison on several occasions due to people I know at least a little bit hunting and cooking up the venison for me and others to eat. And venison is delicious. The best chili that I have ever had was at a chili cook-off in high school where one team made venison chili, and it was spectacular. Stantler is based off of a deer, and therefore it probably tastes very similar to venison. Heck, it might even taste better than venison, because it looks like it's got a whole lot of tender meat in that big booty cheek. I considered Sawsbuck for this slot, but I figured that Stantler would be better since Stantler seems a bit more tender and less muscular than Sawsbuck, and we don't want the game meat to be too gamey. Number 9, Bounsweet. I wanted to include at least one fruit or vegetable on this list for the sake of a balanced diet, but unfortunately pretty much all plant Pokemon have leaves, not lettuce. And if you have ever tried to eat a leaf, which I definitely have, you know that it does not taste the same and tastes much worse. Bounsweet is the fruit Pokemon though, and people eat fruit all the time, so it would be perfect. And come on, this adorable little thing looks delectable. The Pokedex does say that it's too sweet for human consumption, but I believe with the proper preparation and dilution, you could turn a Bounsweet into a delicious fruit salad or smoothie. Number 8, Basculin. I don't eat fish on a super regular basis, but when I do, it has to be fresh fish and it has to be covered in a spice or sauce that I like the taste of. Notice that I specified it has to be fresh fish. If you have ever cooked up frozen fish from Walmart, you know why I said that. There are a lot of fish in the Pokemon world, but Basculin is one of the least spectacular. It's not very strong, it doesn't evolve, its design is nothing spectacular, and it's not rare. Like literally, it's not rare at all. This thing is in pretty much every body of water in all of Unova. But even though Basculin is nothing special, I would still eat it above any other fish Pokemon because it actually is very special in the dining department. One of Basculin's Pokedex entry reads, literally, they are remarkably tasty. If the Pokedex, something that normally focuses on a Pokemon's behavior or powers, finds it necessary to talk about how delicious this fish is, say that 5 times fast, then Basculin has got to be really freaking tasty. If I was given the opportunity, I would absolutely chow down on some Basculin because I'm pretty sure it would become my new favorite fish to eat. Number 7, Crawdaunt. Have you ever been to a crawfish boil? If you don't live in the southern United States, it's unlikely, but trust me, they're great fun. Eating the crawfish can be a pain though, since you have to pull off the tail and peel off all the shells, and then you only get a little bit of meat out of it, but that little bit of meat is very, very tasty. However, Crawdaunt is a giant crawfish, so your efforts of removing the shell would be much more greatly rewarded because there's so much more of it there. And if you think Crawdaunt more closely resembles a lobster than a crawfish, That's still great because lobster is obviously tasty too. Crawdaunt being around would likely lower the price of lobster a lot, which would be great since lobster meals at restaurants are always overpriced as booty. Lots of crawdaunts around would likely lower the price of lobster at a restaurant by quite a lot, which would be great since lobster meals are always stupidly overpriced. But even if it didn't lower the price, I would still probably treat myself to a crawdaunt po' boy every once in a while. Number 6. Combusken. Combusken was a Pokemon that was also on Dookie Shed's list, but I still wanted to include it in mine because I feel the exact same way about it as he does. I love chicken. Chicken wings are probably the most delicious version of chicken, but I try not to eat those too often because afterward they always make me feel like a walking glob of grease and regret. Also, we must talk about Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is just so good. Just like, I love you. If you live in a place that does not have Chick-fil-A, I pity you. Number 5, Execute. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, on this list, it was the chicken because we just talked about the chicken and now we're on the egg. I love eggs a lot. Scrambled, over easy, hard boiled, in a breakfast burrito, pretty much any way you can imagine eggs other than raw, I probably like it. In the Pokemon world, if they ate eggs, I would assume it would be similar to how it works here, where they eat unfertilized eggs of a Pokemon that lays them. However, even if that was the case, I would still just eat Execute, because I hate this thing and I would feel no remorse for doing so. Also, an added benefit of Execute is that they are way bigger than regular chicken eggs. Like, they're massive, which would be great because you get so much more food from just one of them. Also, some of you may say, but Execute's not eggs, it's seeds. To which I would reply, as I've said many times on this channel before, they are not seeds, they are eggs. And I would scramble these stupid eggs into an omelet faster than you could say past the sriracha. Number 4, Bouffalant. Nearly all burgers in the United States are made from cows. However, periodically you'll find a place where you can get one made from an American bison, and holy crap, you all have to try one. The best burger that I have ever had was a bison burger, and so therefore it makes perfect sense that I would want to eat the Pokemon that is based off of an American bison. Some of you may have heard the phrase that Native Americans on the plains used every part of the buffalo except the sound that it makes. But could you imagine if they had Bouffalant out there instead of buffalo? They would be dining like kings, and would probably have made substantially stronger fashion statements. Number 3, Malamar. Malamar was another Pokemon on Dookie Shed's list that I also had to include here because it looks delicious. Not in its current state, no, it's creepy in its current state. I'm talking about in this state. Calamari is my favorite appetizer, and Malamar would be an, albeit very creepy, excellent source of squid meat that could be turned into the most bountiful Malamari harvest any seafood restaurant has ever seen. Hopefully its meat wouldn't have disturbing mind control side effects, but honestly I love calamari so much that's a risk I am willing to take. Number 2, Grumpig. Pigs provide a huge variety of delicious meats that I thoroughly adore. Ribs, pulled pork, carnitas, chorizo, bacon. It makes sense that I would want to eat Grumpig since it's a plump, dancing pig that would probably taste just as good as any pig in our world, and I would easily want to devour many different parts of it after the correct preparation, of course. Now for Dookie Shed's pig entry on his list, he had Pignite instead of Grumpig, saying that a psychic pig kinda weirded him out a bit. However, it doesn't weird me out because I personally think if it's a psychic type, it'd probably just have a bigger brain, and I wasn't gonna eat the brain anyways. Plus, Pignite is a fighting type, which makes me think its meat's gonna be too muscular and chewy, whereas Grumpig, since it blasts psychic stuff from a distance, is probably gonna be more tender and fatty, which, while would be worse for you, would definitely be far more delicious. Number 1, Miltank. Miltank is beef, and I love beef. Burgers, steak, roast beef, brisket, even beef au jus, however you say that, all delicious. And Miltank would be an excellent source for all of those things. But what's extra great about eating Miltank that makes it the number 1 entry on this list is the fact that I hate Miltank. If you've been around my channel for a while, you likely know that I thoroughly despise this stupid cow. Its design is dumb, I don't like pink Pokemon for the most part, and those nipples, those giant nipples on its belly, just way too unsettling. Also, Miltank has given me a lot of problems in the past. Of course, Whitney's Miltank is infamous for that, and also various ones throughout my playthrough, mainly in the Battle Mason. By eating Miltank, I would finally get revenge on it for all the grief that it's caused me throughout the years, and I would get my revenge in the best way possible, by having a delicious meal. It would give me great satisfaction to grill up this stupid nipple cow into some burgers for a neighborhood barbecue, knowing that in the end, its rollout ended up in it being rolled out into some ground beef patties. And to top it all off, I drink a lot of milk. I have cereal every morning, and it's a great post-workout drink because it's high in carbs and protein. So, since Miltank makes a lot of milk, it could provide me delicious nourishment both before and after death, which I think is a beautiful thing, because Miltank dies. So in the end, Miltank may be a stupid, evil Pokemon, but when it's all over, I will be the one having the last laugh. And the last burger. So there we have it. Those are the top 10 Pokemon that I would eat. I apologize if this video upset any of you in any way, but I'm sure that can be solved easily by just having a quick meal of some fried Execute. What did you think of this video? Do you agree with my list? What are some other Pokemon that you would eat? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below, and if you like this video and you haven't already subscribed, you should definitely do so, because I have a lot of fun Pokemon content of all kinds that I am sure you will love. Also, don't forget to check out my content in other places, my second channel, Michael Growth, my Twitch, MNJTV, my Patreon if you would like to support me on a monthly basis, and if you're not following me on Twitter, you should definitely do so because I post a lot of updates and important stuff there. Alright, that's all I have for now, so till next time, Pokefans. I catch them all!